since last year, and this is the day the Lord has made, and I'm going to do the best I can to glorify and edify God today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Preach Jesus.
Heads, Lord, we pray that thy will be done. Not my will, but your will, Lord. I empty myself so you can fill me fully. And Lord, that anything that comes out of my mouth, the word of God that glorifies and edifies you, that whoever is listening through the sound of my voice may be saved. Yes. That through today's sermon, that those changes and those difficulties, trials that we have all been facing, and that we are finding those difficulties to navigate through, that Lord, your word today encourages us and changes our thinking and our approach. It is in Jesus' name I pray that we all learn today through you. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
So the song that we just listened to, it's hard for me to not get teary-eyed when I listen to that song. You know, God is doing a great work. And I want to read some of the lyrics and tie in how this sermon came to be today. Sometimes there are obstacles in the road, and you don't know. Sometimes there's obstacles in the road that can leave you feeling low, and you don't know how to move forward. And sometimes there are turns you want to take, but the way gets hard to trace. Now you're wondering, how did you get here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But don't you give up until you see how God is ordering your steps so you can walk into your season.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I hear that song, it makes me think of a journey. It makes me think of action, taking steps into a promise that we don't even fully understand ourselves sometimes.
Amen.
And it's hard to come up with a sermon, especially the first one, right? I'm sitting there for weeks, like, all right, God, what we gonna do? Well, what we got? Because I can't go up here and make this up. What we're gonna do today? And I was listening to this song and it made me think of things that's going on in my life. And Ashley, my wife, and I was having a conversation. And we had a situation, we didn't know how we were going to get through it. And in that moment, God spoke through me to her and said that, hey, we're in our wilderness journey right now. And all you know we can do is stay faithful and keep moving. And then God slapped me on the back of the head like, that's what you're going to talk about. Today's topic is keep walking through the wilderness.
Yes, sir.
So, of course, we can't talk about journeys or walking through the wilderness without getting into the most famous journey in the Bible, also known as the worst road trip journey in the history of mankind, which was Israel's wandering through the wilderness. And I think about that time as to, well, how does that correlate to the wilderness that we are going through? And when I speak of wilderness, I'm talking about our lives, right? We all love the sermons when we hear about promise of Abraham, right? You're anointed. You all love when we talk about you'll always be a lender, not a borrower. The God will make you the head, not the tail. We love to hear and say and live those things. But when life gets tough, we somehow in church moved away, or rather moved towards, that this is supposed to be easy. We somehow got into the thought process that as soon as you sign up for Christ, your life's good, right? We turn on the radio, we watch those TV preachers hold up the Bible and saying them quotes and everything, talking about that God's going to love you and everything's going to be prosperous, and if somebody came to stab you, a rainbow will shoot out of you because everything's going to be awesome all the time. But then when times get tough, so I started thinking about, okay, well, this journey of Israel, how is this translated to how our thought process? And we have to kind of get an idea of where Israel's thought process was, right? They've been in slavery 400 years in Egypt.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to think about, they've had two different pharaohs that made a decree that, hey, you're supposed to kill every firstborn.
Yes, sir.
They are completely broken and shattered, and the only thing they know is their current lifestyle. And you have to think about how difficult that is, that you have this group of people being told that you're going to be a great nation. I'm taking you to the promised land, full of milk and honey.
Yep.
You will be my light of the world. You got to think about that. That's a hard promise to hear. And some of us can relate. There's things that God has told you that you are going to do or that's coming your way. And it's so outside your current scope that you scoff. We think about Abraham, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're going to have a son. Abraham laughed in God's face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have this people being told this promise that they can't even comprehend. You got to think about the level of faith that that takes. And at this point, we're all good with that. God said, I'm going to be a millionaire. Amen. All right. I got that faith. That's good faith right there. But there's something really important that happened. They didn't just have faith. They had to get walking. Sometimes we get caught up in how important that faith is, and we sit and wait. If Israel would have sat and waited, they'd still be in Egypt.
Yeah. That's right.
Faith with action. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. So, as we get started into this, I want to make sure we're on the right mindset that promise that you each have, as crazy as it sounds, that promise could be that you will no longer have financial problems. That promise could be that you are going to be healthy. You're going to be able to get up and play with your children and grandchildren without any problem. That promise could be that that significant other for you is on the way. You got to have faith first that that is coming. But there's some stuff you got to do too.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
So I'm going to pick up the story of Israel. This is right after Dave left Egypt. Okay? And this is kind of kicks off where a lot of our life is that we have a break, a very powerful break from the lifestyle that we have become accustomed to, that slavery mentality that we are moving away from. God has just did an amazing feat with the Passover. They got people leaving Egypt, and that's where we're going to pick up. Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 through 18. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. But God led the people around by the way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. And the people of Israel went up out of the land of Egypt, equipped for battle. So there's some things that we need to break down in this verse. God has a plan. We all know that. We all like to say that. But God's plan is not to get you there any quicker than you're supposed to get there. And sometimes we get caught up in like, oh, God made me this promise. All right, let's do it. Where is it? Where is the promise? Right? And we learned right here that God's approach is that if he knows that if he takes these people and their current mentality into their promise any sooner, when they get to that promise, they're going to mess it up. And you got to think about, let's use lottery winners. You can go online and you can find, I don't know how many different stories about lottery winners who win the lottery and immediately fall into bankruptcy a couple of years later. And it's because they get brought into this promise, into this mentality, that, and they're still a slave to their own way. They're still a slave to their own thought process. I like to call that a circular thinking. And some of y'all, if not all of us, have been stuck in that circle. You make your break, you make your change, I ain't going to do that no more. Give it a little bit more time, you're right back doing that same thing. I ain't going out to the club no more. I ain't going to do that. All right, I'm going to change, turn my life around. You start getting lonely. Your friends stop hanging out with you. All right, maybe I'll go back. I'm going to leave that man alone. He ain't no good for me. Get them late night texts. You up? Turn right back around.
That's right.
Lest the people change their mind. You cannot walk into your promise in your current mindset.
That's right.
So like I talked about earlier, right? Christianity. Oh, Christian now, things are supposed to be easy. And the people of Israel went up out of the land of Egypt equipped for battle. God didn't have them to come out equipped with flip-flops and swimming trunks on.
Yeah.
God had them equipped for battle.
Yes, sir.
Change is not easy.
Yeah.
And there's a battle to get into the promise. There's a bigger war that God knows that they're not even ready for.
Amen.
But He is not making their life easier. He is letting them know, be ready for battle.
Yeah.
You're going to have some struggles. You're going to have some trials. And we have to change our mindset to understand that this is not easy and it's not supposed to be easy. Because if it was easy, you would not grow.
No.
I'm going to go ahead and skip to verse 21 to 22 on Exodus chapter 13. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night did not depart from the people. So we already know that we got to have faith. We know that God has a plan. And we know we need to be okay with waiting for that plan to come through. We also got to know that God is with us. Again, Israel is in a very vulnerable state. They had just left Egypt.
Yeah.
They can still see the pyramids behind them. They're still walking this way. They're equipped for battle, not exactly sure what's going on. They don't know where they're going to, how they're going to navigate through this new lifestyle.
Yeah.
So God not only led them, but He accompanied how He changed how He led them.
Yeah.
God doesn't just say, this is how I'm going to lead this one way, and you either get on the bus or you get off. It's multiple times throughout the Bible where God led, but He led in a way that the people or the person He's leading needed to be led.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you want to be a good leader, you have to lead by what your followers' needs are.
Yeah. Amen.
So a pillar of cloud by day in the desert, it's pretty easy to follow, right?
Yeah.
And a pillar of fire at night. May not seem that significant, but let's go back into ancient Israel here. Traveling at night, traveling in general, in the wilderness, in the desert, that's not easy. Right? You don't have XM radio. You can't sit there and turn your iPad on and listen to, your Johnny Warback CDs on for the whole time. You are out there in the elements.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's bandits.
Yeah.
You think about walking at night, there's lions could just come out and take your partner out right there. Even just walking. Y'all think it's bad when you stub your toe. Now, you back then, you just had sandals on. You walking around out there, hit your toe on a rock, you could die right there from stubbing your toe because you're out there at night. Again, showing that moving forward and change is not going to be always going to be convenient. Convenient thing would be, okay, we're only going to travel during the day.
Yeah.
Convenient thing would be that God's going to come pick us up. But they're traveling by day and night, and God, in His wisdom, gives them the light that they need to see to navigate through that darkness. The pillar of fire by night did not depart from the people. I'm going to move to Exodus chapter 14, verse 10 through 11. We're at the point now where Israel's feeling pretty good. Okay? We're talking about how when we have our changes, we feel pretty good when we put down that drink and put down the cigarettes, leave that person alone, stop spending so much, start going to church more often.
Yeah.
We start feeling good.
Yeah. Yep.
So they've just been delivered. They've seen miracles. God broke them away from their current lifestyle in a major way. And then what happens? Pharaoh shows up. When Pharaoh drew near, the people of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they feared greatly. And the people of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have we done? What have you done to us to bring us out of Egypt?" The very first sign of trouble, what happens? Turn back around. Crying. God, why are you bringing us out here? I thought this was supposed to be easy. And there's people in this room right here on social media with the sound of my voice that joined up with this whole Christian thing. It was like, I thought this was supposed to be easy.
Yes, sir.
They told me that I was supposed to just have money coming out of my account. I tithe, I do this. I still can't pay my bills.
We're the milk and honey.
Yeah, where is it? What is going on? You have people, we get stuck in these thought processes of that Christianity is an easy lifestyle, and that change is easy. Change is something that, like, oh God, I'm doing what you said now. This is supposed to be an easy journey for me. We all fall into that trap. I fall into that trap. The moment I started turning my life and giving it back to God and being serious about it after running for a long time, because like I told y'all would have told me last year that I would have been doing this right now. And you get caught up in it like, okay, I'm being obedient. I'm listening to God. I'm making these changes. I'm moving forward. The enemy's going to be like, okay, here comes your Pharaoh. And we all have a different type of Pharaoh. All right? There's not just one universal Pharaoh. So don't come up in here acting like you ain't got no Pharaoh hunting you down. Some of y'all Pharaohs, it's that bill collector that keep calling you.
That's right.
Some of y'all Pharaohs is that doctor calling you trying to avoid. Or trying to avoid going to the doctor, period. Some of y'all Pharaohs is that ex. Just can't leave them alone. Make up to break up. Some of y'all Pharaohs is your own limiting beliefs on what you're capable of doing.
Amen.
That was my Pharaoh. I wouldn't be up here right now if I continue to let that Pharaoh chase me down. See, we all have that Pharaoh. That when he shows up, whoa, wait a minute, God, I didn't sign up for this. Hold up. This is not the agreement, okay? I was up milk and honey. I thought we were going there. What is going on here? And we find Israel right here in this spot where they are between the Red Sea and we got Pharaoh coming. Not only do they start complaining, at this point we start seeing Israel start looking at, okay, well, maybe we can go back. Like, hey, my bad, we were just tripping, we want to come back. Well, we understand, how about we do some extra work for you? You want 2 pyramids, we got that for you. Let's take this back. They're really having these thought processes, and we do this every day when things get tough. It's like that old saying, better the devil you know than the one you don't. At least I knew what to expect back in Egypt. Yeah, I got beat every once in a while, but you know what? I got some food, right? I knew where all my friends were. I felt somewhat safe as long as I did what I was supposed to do. It wasn't that bad. Start thinking about that relationship. Start looking really good when you're by yourself after a while. Even though the person done talked about you, hurt you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Well, you know what? He sure was nice. Sure was fine. Man, she could cook. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Let me see what she's doing. When that Pharaoh, that loneliness, another Pharaoh shows up. We see Israel turn immediately back to say, why did we even come out here? You brought us out here to die. This isn't, we know the story of Israel. I don't know how Moses did it. I would have turned that bus around a long time ago. Because every single time something showed up, We hungry. We thirsty. This ain't what we signed up for. My feet hurt. I'm tired of eating this stuff falling from the sky. Moses, 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 Moses. Every single time something happened, they started to want to say, let's go back to Egypt. And when that Pharaoh shows up, that fear and that discouragement and being able to navigate through, like how are we going to beat this Pharaoh? We have to paint a picture, all right? Pharaoh isn't just showing up, pulling up on one chariot. Like, hey, y'all, look, come on back. No. He has 600 men equipped to take them out. There is no, oh, okay, I get it. That was a joke, right? Okay, so all the kids you just killed in Egypt, but that was just, okay, y'all playing and you coming back. No, he's going out with the sole purpose that I'm going to wipe out every single one of y'all. Every single one. 600 men in chariots. He's just barreling down towards. You can imagine walking in towards the sea, and you hear commotion behind you, turn around, you just see dust clouds coming. You see your Pharaoh coming. You have absolutely no way out. That's the kind of stress they're in. We like to look at them like, man, if I knew God was following, he was leading me in a pillar of fire stuff, I would have had faith. I wouldn't have turned back around. Like, you know, handle it. We like to think that Israel was a bunch of, sissies out there didn't know how to deal with anything. No. That ain't the case. You have to look at your life, that Pharaoh that you just had barreling down you yesterday.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When that Pharaoh came, that same feeling that you had, we were like, ooh, I don't know how it's going to happen. You start sweating, heart beating all fast. You didn't know what you were going to do, how you were going to get out of it, how you were going to make it through. That's what they were feeling. So don't look at them like, man, they ain't got no sense. No wonder they complain all the time. Like, if I was God, I would have wiped them out a long time ago. That shows how loving and just God is.
Amen.
Because if you wipe them out, we all be done. Because every single time something happens to you, and you immediately turn back around, and be like, yeah, God, that was cool, but yeah, this makes more sense to me. Like, boom, you're done. But he doesn't do that.
Right. Amen.
If Israel would have turned back around, at best, some of them would have been taken back to Egypt. At best. And when they would have went back, they would have never been able to leave again.
Right.
They would have found themselves in a worse situation.
Yeah.
You think about those relationships that we are either in, know someone that's in, or we've heard about. Those abusive relationships where the person leaves, baby, I'm sorry, ain't gonna happen again. They go back, and it's worse. Because you have now shown that person, I have absolute control over you. All I got to do is just dangle something in your face that you want. You'll come right back. You think about the lifestyles that we have, the ones that we're moving away from. Let the right person come up in here, wearing the right thing, having the right stuff. You start thinking twice, like, oh, well, wait a minute now. Well, maybe we can go backwards. You'll find yourself in the worst situation. Jesus even says that. An empty house, when he casts out the demons, he said 7 more will come back worse than the one that was cast out. He's going to go get friends.
That's right.
So we have a situation here where we are scared, we're panicking, we don't know how this is going to work out. God told us this thing, it sounds really great, but it ain't happening yet. And in fact, I don't see anywhere that I can go. They have nothing that they can do to get themselves out of this situation under their own power.
Amen.
Nothing. It's time to keep walking. When life gets tough, when your pharaohs are coming, you got to keep walking. And you got to encourage each other.
Yeah.
Amen.
But you can't encourage each other if y'all don't tell what's going on. Somehow we got into this whole thought process that everybody comes to church and we sit there and we just listen and nod. When the minister or the pastor says, turn to your neighbor and say, keep walking. That's when y'all supposed to do that. Like, turn to your neighbor and say, keep walking. That's what, oh yeah, pay attention. Right, yes. Keep on walking.
Keep on walking.
Right? I don't need to tell you to be doing that.
Yeah.
We should be doing that already.
Yeah.
You notice we have a whole group of people here walking toward their impending doom, and they all dragging each other down.
Right.
We don't hear nothing about in here that Bill, the Israelite, was like, guys, come on, calm down, we can do this. You don't hear the people encouraging each other.
Right.
Whenever you hear about Israel and they're wandering through the wilderness, and something goes wrong, it goes wrong for everybody. They just take each other out. Right? It's just a domino effect. There's not one person that stands up and says, hey, guys, we can do this.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is that different than what's going on here today?
Yep.
When's the last time that you took a moment out to encourage somebody,
Yeah.
even though you are in the same situation?
Amen.
Yeah.
When's the last time you asked for help?
Yeah.
Amen.
Because I can't encourage you if you don't tell me what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Amen. So we have Israel, got this sea on one side. We got the army coming, about to get wiped out. They're all panicking. And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm. Calm down. I'll put that part in there. And see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again.
Yeah.
The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent.
Amen.
Yeah.
Everybody's freaking out. Well, Lord, that was going to die. Why did you bring us out here? Should have went back. Maybe we can sneak around. They're freaking out. Moses tells them, fear not. See, Moses doesn't say this grandiose speech. And if you guys know about Moses, he called himself, he wasn't a good speaker. He had a stuttering problem. And if anything, he tried to get out of doing his job about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. That's right.
Sounds a little familiar. He tried to negotiate his way out of doing this.
That's right.
He doesn't make an elegant speech. You don't have to be this grandiose speaker with this large vocabulary to encourage somebody.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to be this charismatic leader pulling up in your Cadillac. You don't got to be that. He keeps it very simple. Fear not, stand firm,
Yeah.
and see the salvation of the Lord. He doesn't say anything about, okay, well, let's pray about it, but this is what you need to do. He doesn't tell them, all right, this is how we're going to do it. He doesn't tell them, this is what my friend said that you should do. He doesn't say, I read this book once. He doesn't say, I saw online.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about a video with Will Smith talking about fear and jumping out of an airplane and how that helped him get through. He tells them, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
See, when you are going through your journey, when you're encouraging each other, when we're all walking to get through our deliverance, you have to remember that salvation comes from God.
Yes, sir.
There ain't nothing you can do. And in fact, to make sure you understand that, God's going to put you in situations where you can't get out of unless you have faith in Him. And we always wonder, like, these circular lifestyles, right? Why do we keep turning around? Why do we keep going back? Right? We all do it in certain aspects, and we all know somebody who does it that's a little bit more obvious than ours. But that doesn't mean that ours is any less than what they're going through. It's because we get caught up into, all right, I know the promise. This is what I need to do. we start trying to plan. We start saying, like, God, that's a great plan. I think I can speed it up, though, if I do this, and this. Right? I remember when, one point, where Ashley was pregnant with Asher, I weighed 25, 30 pounds. Heaviest I've been. Right? Sympathy is a real thing. I was just eating sandwiches. So I was like, man, I'm feeling heavy. I can't keep doing this. I lost 25 pounds. And people at work were like, man, like, how'd you do that? Like, how did you do that? So I told them the thing that everybody knows, but nobody wants to listen to, diet and exercise. It was not rocket science. I worked out 3 times a week. I changed my diet. And in 2 months, bam. Told somebody that. Helped her understand, like, all right, this is the plan, this is what you're going to do. It's going to take time, but you got to let your body adjust to it in this whole process, right? Next week, how's it going? Oh, I'm trying this new, it was some sort of diet. My friend did it and she lost 25 pounds and the only thing she had to do was eat, like, drink lemon juice and hot sauce and 3 ice cubes, not 4, 3. You gotta only have 3 in there. And she lost all that weight. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, wait a minute. I'm standing here in front of you. I'm telling you that this is the plan and this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
I even told her up front, it ain't gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. Because I had to stop eating cookies. I love cookies. Had to cut back on the sandwiches. There was things I had to cut out of my life.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we all can relate to something in that where we've talked to somebody and they ask us, how'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah.
And we tell them. And if it's not something that sounds like an easy thing to do,
Right. Yeah.
what happens?
They go through it.
We even do that now. If you ask somebody and they told you this is what you have to do, if you wanted to lose weight, if you wanted to become a leader at a major company, if you wanted to get financial freedom and wellness, this is what you're going to have to do. We're like, oh, okay. Let me get a second opinion. And we see here that as we listening and learning about the journey, Israel's journey, and their mindset right now, hopefully we're painting a picture where we can see where they are in this moment. We have Moses telling them and reminding them, regrounding them, fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today.
Yes, sir.
Not tomorrow, not in a few weeks. He said, will work for you today. Because in that moment, God.
Yeah.
In that moment, God was the only way out of that situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
See,
sir.
we like it when God shows up before things happen.
Amen.
But when he shows up when things happen, it's kind of close.
Yeah.
Like, woo, okay, all right, all right, God, we got about 5 minutes here. We're going to keep going, or are you going to deliver us? What's going to happen here? We like that when God shows up. But when he shows up right on time, because right now they're in a situation where there ain't no 5 more minutes. What happens next is probably one of the most iconic parts of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
We have Pharaoh coming. We have the sea behind him. Moses goes up, parts the Red Sea.
Yeah.
So not only did God show up right on time,
Yeah.
he showed up in such a way that they cannot explain it away.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
They couldn't say that through the power of Moses,
Yeah.
we made it out.
Yes, sir.
They couldn't say, oh, I got pretty good with this sword while I was walking. I took out like 3 or 4 Egyptians. Took them out. There is nothing that they can say from their power alone that they got into their promise.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
sir.
they got their salvation.
That's right.
In such a big way. It's like God was basically showing off. Like, okay, now I'm going to finally show y'all who's in control. This water right here, let's go ahead and split that up. Go ahead and walk on that.
Yeah.
Think about that. What is going through their minds at the moment? Imagine we were at Lake Erie
Yeah.
and we got to cross it. And God parts the water. And it's not like all muddy land and everything. It's dry.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they're
sir.
walking through that. You got to think about how they're just like, what?
Yeah.
And when this happens, and when we're going through our changes and our growth, right, and we're walking towards our promise, we're at the ends of our rope. Where it's like, at that point, it's either we're going to continue with that change,
Yeah.
or we're going to give up and turn back around.
Right.
If you stay with God's plan, if you stay on path, if you stay in that faith, if you continue to walk
Yeah.
in what God has promised for you, if you have faith, God will blow your mind
Yeah.
Amen.
on how He will deliver you
Yeah.
through those trials. Well, that Pharaoh, where Moses tells him, you will not see the Egyptians again.
Yeah.
That Pharaoh that was barreling down on them was so insignificant that he became an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Those bills that you have that's coming up due, those relationships you should be leaving alone, that loneliness that's coming up, those late night hours, those health issues, all those things are insignificant. That God wants to deliver you from those things. But in order for Him to deliver you from the old pharaohs, we have to take a lesson from Egypt, from Israel.
Yeah.
You have to have faith in His promise for you.
Amen.
That's the first step.
Amen. That's right.
If they didn't have faith, they'd be still in Egypt.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
You have to have faith in that what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing a Bible study. Pastor Rick's doing this awesome study on spiritual gifts. Make sure you tune in Wednesdays at 7. And shining some awesome light on how we each have a gift that we're supposed to be bringing that glorifies and edifies the church.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We each have a calling. We each have a promise.
Say it.
God tells us that before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If you don't believe that God doesn't have something special for you to do, I don't know what to tell you. Well, when I wake up in the morning, we like to tell people, thank God that I woke up in the morning. You got to really think about that. You woke up. That means there's something you're supposed to be doing today.
Yeah.
Say it. Say it.
If you weren't supposed to be doing nothing today, you wouldn't have woken up.
Right.
You would have been a complete waste of space. The fact that you are here today, there's something you're supposed to be doing today.
Amen.
Amen.
The fact that your eyes opened up, there is something you're supposed to be doing today. And until you take a moment to step back and say, Lord, let thy will be done.
Yeah.
Not my will, but your will. You
Say
woke me
it.
up this morning. There's something that I'm supposed to be doing. God, make it
Amen.
plain to me and let me walk in my spiritual gift.
Yeah.
And I will promise you, from my own experience, God will give you those opportunities.
Yes.
You will see your spiritual gift in action.
Amen.
But you got to have faith in that first.
Yes.
If anything, I think it's funny because when I say that prayer, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? What's my gift, right? Before I up here, before teaching Bible studies, what ended up happening was that people at work just started coming by my desk, asking me to pray for them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
At work, this is a corporate environment.
Yeah.
That is not okay.
Yeah.
I am a supervisor. That is not okay. I do not go out and seek talking about religion at work.
Yeah.
But the more I start saying that prayer, the more people start coming around.
Yes, sir.
That's good, Joshua.
Yes.
So there's something for all of you out here today, under the sound of my voice, way of social media. You have a spiritual gift that God has given you opportunity after opportunity, morning after morning, of you waking up every single day to come out and do what it is that He has you to do, and you are not doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're more worried about that Pharaoh coming down, barreling down to you. We change our mindset.
Yes.
Yes.
God can't take you into his promise under the way that we're currently thinking.
Come on.
God can't deliver you in this miraculous way
Yeah.
without you changing how you're thinking.
Yeah.
Got to change.
You cannot get into the promised land. And God is not going to take you there any earlier than you can be than you're ready for. He's not going to take you there earlier. We can sit there and say, all right, God, let's do it. It's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, I want to go ahead and get this thing, right? No. Because God has to take you through some battles. He has to take
Yes.
you through some trials. He has to take you through some tribulations.
Yes.
So that when you get to the promised land, not only will you be ready,
Yeah.
you'll be firm in your
Yes.
faith. You'll be so firm in your faith that you don't even have to do anything but be quiet
right.
and let God do his work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He tells them the Lord will fight for you.
Yes.
Yes.
And you only have to be silent.
Yes.
That your faith will be so strong, Pharaoh's coming, you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, let's see what happens.
Say it.
I know who I serve.
Yeah.
I know who I serve. El Shaddai, Lord Almighty.
Yes, sir.
Jehovah Jireh. I serve a God
Yes.
above all other gods.
Well, all.
You can bring your pharaohs if you want to. But I know who I serve.
Amen.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
So we have faith. You have to walk in that faith.
Yeah.
See, this is the part where sometimes I lose people. Like I said, as a supervisor, I have to coach people. And when you're coaching people, there's a end result that they want, and then there's a current state. There's space in between those two. You gotta walk.
Yeah.
If you don't walk, that's not a demonstration of faith. Sitting and praying and hoping is awesome. But God gave you 2 legs.
Right.
He gave you the ability to move.
Amen.
You need to walk in your
Amen.
faith towards your purpose. This whole sitting around and reading horoscopes and waiting on somebody or
Come on.
hoping you got a rich uncle that passes away and leaves you an allowance, or you find the treasures from the Goonies or something like that. This whole thought process has to change,
Yeah.
right? We take more walk in faith than buying lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Say it.
Say it.
Right.
Yes. Say it.
You have to take that walk. There's a journey. And that journey ain't going to be easy. You're going to have to be equipped for battle.
That's right.
You are going to have to be ready for what's going to come. But there's that faith of knowing that no matter what comes,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
God,
Yes. Yes.
today, as I was writing this sermon and freaking out. Okay? Y'all laugh, but I was freaking out.
We got you. We got you.
Because my own testimony is that I never felt good enough to do God's work. And I don't know, maybe I'm not speaking to somebody out there right now that's hearing me. I didn't feel that I was good enough. I felt that there's way more other qualified people to be doing this right now.
Amen.
There's a pastor out there somewhere that will come in here and be blowing this place down. Y'all be doing cartwheels and backflips, hope to catch on fire, because it's just this raw energy.
Yeah.
But God doesn't want me to, neither does he want you to, do how other people do.
Yeah.
That's right.
If that was the case, when the people were writing the Bible would be exactly the same in every single chapter, because God would have wanted it written one way, one special way. But God allowed the writers of the Bible to write the Bible in their own way. And that's why we have certain books that we like better than others. Because God, in his wisdom, knew that the more diverse the Bible is written, the more people it's going to hit. If I came up here and preached like somebody else, I had somebody, my cousin, tell me this, that if you mimic somebody else, you're only ever going to be second best.
Uh-huh.
Say it.
Think about that. If you're mimicking somebody else, you're only going to be second best. That goes to those spiritual gifts too. That goes to that promise. That promise, that calling that you have, other people have it, yeah. But what do you have that makes it special to you, and why did God give it to you to handle it?
Yeah.
I can't say it enough, guys, that God is just an awesome God.
Yes,
Amen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The song we listened to, Great Work.
Yes.
God is doing a great work
Amen.
in me.
Amen.
Everybody say that. Let's just say that with that conviction. God is doing a great work in me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He is doing a great work. You have to just think about this God that is so powerful and amazing. And He created everything, created you. And He wants to have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
He wants to have a relationship with you so bad that He gave His Son.
Yeah.
So that you can call Him Father.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but if I had to give up Asher's
Say it.
life
Say
to
it.
save one of y'all, I'll be at your funeral. I like you and I love you, but I ain't doing that. And we sometimes lose that viewpoint that God gave up His only. It's not like He had some spares in the back, like, oh, I just have an extra one, you can take this one. He gave up His only begotten Son for you.
Yeah. Man.
That's everything.
I want that to sink in. Because you think about with Israel right now, being delivered through that salvation. God, through the Bible, when He delivers people, He don't do no half-tailed thing that He
Say
does.
it. Say it.
Oh.
It ain't something that people can be like, oh, yeah, that's easy. Like, there were some boats there, we just got lucky. We took the boats across the river. No. When God shows up, He shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have to allow Him to show up.
Amen.
See, that's why when people talk about miracles and all this stuff, like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't this? It's because we don't allow it to happen. We turn around before that miracle can come out.
Amen.
When you think about Jesus and He talks about faith, the miracles that He does, He says, by your faith may it be done. It can only be as much faith that you have as what that miracle is going to be for you. That promise that you have, that faith that you have in it, that's going to determine how strong that faith and that promise is going to